नमस्कार. आयच्या ह्या खाशेल्या कार्यावळीत तुमकां सगळ्याक येवकार. तुम्ही फायनान्स मिनिस्टराच्यो मेजर्स आयकल्यो. किती आसा ह्यो मेजर्स, खंयच्या सेक्टराक फायदो, खंयच्या सेक्टराक ना, हाजी आतां एनालिसीस आमी करत रावतले. पण हांचे बरोबर सगळ्यात पयले जे गेस्ट आसात हाजे उपरांत ते म्हळ्यार गोंयांतले नामनेचे उद्देजक, तांकां रियल इस्टेट आनी बाकीच्या रेग्युलेटरी मेकॅनिझमाचो अनुभव आनी अभ्यास आसा. निलेश बाब साळकर. निलेश, वेलकम टू द शो. लेट मी स्टार्ट विथ बिफोर गोईंग इन टू द डिटेल्स. सुरवात हाजे वेल्यान करया. वॉट इज युअर इनिशियल रिएक्शन आफ्टर लिसनिंग टू द फायनान्स मिनिस्टर?
The finance minister has covered a lot of industries and sectors. They have also made a reference to the real estate industry. What we find the reaction of the association is that it is not very, not up much to our expectations. We were expecting a much better, with the exception of extension for RERA. We really have to wait and watch for the fine prints, because in whatever she has said at the moment, we don't see anything for ourselves.
कितें दिसता की उरिल्ले जे 4-5 दीस आसात आनी शी हॅज सेड ऑल्सो की फुडले एक in 5 phases she is going to announce.
The word she has used is tranches.
Aye.
So this is just the first tranche.
So what are you expecting? At least what are the primary expectations? आयच्यान सुरवात जाल्या, but what are the primary expectations of the industry?
The primary expectation is basically with relaxation of the funding from the banks. Even in the earlier when the first lockdown was announced, the RBI announced a COVID-19 scheme. So most of the builders, we have made applications, but our applications are not considered very favorably, saying that there are no clear instructions to assist the real estate industry. So either there is a lack of communication between the finance minister, the RBI, and the managers at the local level, or it is just that we have not been considered. And there is no clear response to this. If we give them an answer, ask them a question, they don't have an answer for what reason we are not being considered, or why we are not being considered, or whether we will be considered at all or not, is not there at all. The only thing that we have got, like most of the other people, is the 3-month moratorium on the installments, EMIs, and the interest. Only that is confirmed as of date.
पण एक गजाल जर जाली की क्लॅरिटी ना, ही एक गजाल जाली. सो एक दिसता की गव्हर्मेंटाक अजून हाजो फूल एक्सटेंड एज फार रियल इस्टेट इज, तो स्टेटीक जावं किंवा सेंटराक जावं, लक्षांत आयला द मॅग्निट्यूड ऑफ इट, ऑर एज दीस वता तशें आमकां एक गजाल लक्षांत येत आसा?
It is very difficult to gauge the mind of the government on this. On one side, they want us to help the labor. They want to take care of the labor. They want to restart the economy. They say that the construction industry forms a formidable part of the GDP. But it is all, there is absolutely no mention or recognition of this industry at all at the government level. Just to give you an example, when we had our first meeting under the Economic Advisory Committee, we had made a reference to real estate. We had asked them for 4-5 points, which we have been asking even 6 months before this, because the real estate industry was in a slowdown much before this COVID came. The COVID-19 has actually aggravated the situation. So we are not asking for anything new. Whatever we asked for 6 months prior to this incident, these same things we are asking them. But I don't think that we are having enough hearing, or maybe we do not have enough. Our industry is not pulling its punch, so to say.
बट एक गजाल मुद्दा विचारपा खातीर, वॉट हॅज हॅपन्ड, म्हळ्यार डिमांड्स ज्यो आसात बेजिकली बिकॉज ऑफ द स्लो डावन बिफोर लॉकडावन, त्योच आसात. बट वॉट हॅज हॅपन्ड ड्युरींग लॉकडावन फॉर जनरल पब्लीक टू अंडरस्टँड? इंडस्ट्री किती इफेक्ट जाला, कितलो इफेक्ट जाला, आणि हाजे परिणाम आता किती जातले बिकॉज ऑफ दीस लॉकडावन, बिकॉज ऑफ दीस स्लो डावन?
कितें जाला म्हणजे सगळ्यो, म्हणजे जेन्ना हो लॉकडावन अनाउन्स जालो तेन्ना पासून सगळ्यो सायटी बंद आसा. जवळ सगळ्योच सायटी बंद जाल्यो. म्हणजे नॉट ओनली रियल इस्टेट, बट इवन PWD contractors, government contractors, private construction, everything came to a standstill, complete standstill. And as days went on, days and weeks went on, we found that the labor was becoming very restless. The organized industry did look after the labor. Although you might have some stray cases of or news items of labor not being taken care of or labor going back. So all these things happen, but by and large, I feel that the labor was pretty well looked after. They have been paid salaries in most of the cases. They have been paid salaries in most. But a time came when there was neither labor nor material. Material was stopped. And when it opened up in a very gradual manner. Even till today, you must be seeing news about labor wanting to go back or materials not coming, especially with respect to sand, we are having a very big issue. Most like even interior materials like aluminium, tiles, wherever it is, whenever it is coming from places which are in the red districts, materials are still not coming. For example, anything coming from Mumbai, Pune is still a problem.
एक जो मुद्दा म्हाका जो सगळ्यांच्याच तकल्या तो म्हळ्यार लेबराचो. सो एवरीबडी वॉन्ट्स टू गो होम रायट नाव. अशी परिस्थिती भितर लेबर ह्या गजालीचो एटलिस्ट गोंयच्या रियल इस्टेट सेक्टराचेर कितलो परिणाम जातलो? कितें दिसता तुमकां? वॉट नंबर ऑफ पर्सेंटेज लेबर इज गोईंग बॅक ऑर वॉन्ट्स टू गो बॅक?
A very large percentage, I would say, quite a large percentage is going. But it is not only in the construction industry. I feel that this labor wanting to go back to their native place is a general phenomenon spread across all sectors. Even otherwise, even if without this COVID, this is the time when that labor normally goes back to their native places. It usually happens, but it usually happens in phases. One lot goes and the other lot comes back. So there is always a replacement. Now, in this particular case, we are not getting any new labor, and this labor wants to go. So the turnover of labor is not there. So you must understand that most of these laborers have their own land holdings, and a lot of them are involved with agriculture in their native places. So this is the time for them to get their fields ready or get their thing ready for the monsoons. And most of them do go back during this period. It is a phenomenon that happens every year. But not everybody wants to leave at the same time. This year, almost the whole industry, the whole people want to go.
एक जो आसा सप्लायाच्या बाबतीत की आय थिंक आफ्टर लॉकडावन 1 Union of Indian came up with a notification that all essential and non-essential transport of both goods is permitted म्हणून. आता लॉकडाऊन 1 सोपून ऑलमोस्ट एक महिनो जावपा आयलो. तुम्ही म्हणटा अजून पर्यंत सप्लाय लाईन्स क्लियर नात, अजून पर्यंत सप्लाय सारको ना.
Clear now with respect to some materials. For example, now Mumbai is still not fully opened. So whatever material is coming from Mumbai, or maybe their head offices are in Mumbai, manufacturing places are elsewhere. So that lines are not getting very clear in terms of finishing materials, tiles, etc. We're still facing a problem. Cement, steel probably is on the line, but we are having a different problem with cement and steel. They have started increasing their prices.
Yeah. If that is the case, तुमकां sectorally price correction जातलें काय price miscorrection जातलें as the days progress, कितें दिसता?
I don't see a very large price corrections, maybe 5 to 10%, at least in Goa. Because whatever we have sold, we can still rely upon them to continue with the contracts and bring in the payment. Maybe the next few sales, we may have to just hard sell a little bit. But I really don't foresee rates dropping by much, at least in Goa.
आणि डिमांड कितें तुमकां दिसता की people will be willing to come out and invest, because real estate becomes probably biggest investment in anyone's life. So considering the situation right now, तो investment scenario or buying scenario or demand scenario कसो दिसता?
See, I am looking at it a little differently with these type of things. Maybe a few years ago, when we had the Gulf War or the Kuwait War, there was a splurge of investment from the Gulf, the expatriates from the Gulf who wanted a secure home back in Goa. Now, something of the similar sort may happen this time because a lot of people are losing jobs all over the world. And what better place to be in your own home, other than your own home in the times of difficulty. So I'm sure people will consider making Goa their home, if not their first home, their second home at least, where they can come down to some semblance of security in case of an foreseen circumstance like this.
सो तुमकां डिमांड पडटलो अशें दिसना.
Demand पडटलो असो दिसना. म्हणजे not to. What might happen now is people will probably wait for buildings to be nearing completion to make their purchases. Because of the uncertainty in the market. But this uncertainty, I'm sure, will not last beyond September or October. There are a lot of real estate projects which are already halfway through. Like our association has made a survey of stages of construction all over India, and most of the construction is lying between 40 and 60% completion stage. So it is very difficult for the promoter to withdraw out of this. If it was something at say 10-12%, it's easy for the promoter to just hold back and say that I will not do it now, I will not invest any more money, I will do it when things are better. But that is not the case. The survey is showing that a lot of construction is between 40 and 60%. So he will be under pressure to perform in terms of RERA, consumer agreements, customer agreements. At the same time, if he delays it further, there will be a lot of stress on the finances as well. So it will be in our interest to complete our projects as fast as possible. And with this in mind, we were looking for funding for our projects. That is a pain point at this point of time. Funding is not very. Although we hope the government will see reason and we will see reason and open up the purse strings for us.
But last question was, everybody is talking about amendment in regulatory mechanisms and laws and acts, including the labor amendment in regulatory mechanisms. Labor laws also, regulatory mechanisms. Now real estate is one industry where regulatory mechanisms are very strict. So my last question to you, any one or two amendments into the regulatory mechanisms that you would like to suggest to the government considering the present situation?
See, we are mostly governed at the moment by RERA. So, RERA in Goa has already offered a 3-month extension for projects. We would probably make a representation to them to extend the time limit by another 3 or 4 months. Maybe by at least till end of October or so, at least till the second quarter is over. Okay. As far as the labor laws that you are talking about is not really affecting the construction industry. It's more for labor in the factories, because on construction sites, very few sites will actually work on shifts. Except for these infrastructure projects.
So, तुम्ही म्हणतात की right now the major thing is the credit line. If Union of India sorts out the issue of credit line, there will be lot of easing as far as real estate sector is concerned.
Absolutely.
So that is the primary concern. Should be the primary focus.
To be honest, most people are even delaying their bank installments. Housing loan installments are being delayed. So if all this delay adds up, see, we can tackle this as far as the RERA is concerned, or some force majeure clauses are concerned in our agreement. But what happens to our finances? So even a year's delay can set back the feasibility of a project by 15%.
So ultimately तुम्ही म्हणतात की we come to that age old wisdom की पैशांचे song घेवपाक येना. म्हाका दिसता we again come back to that, and that is the issue we need to address right now. Nilesh Bab, thanks a lot for talking to us. Exercise चालू दवरुया. Probably after all the announcements are complete, we'll talk again and take stock of the situation.
On the media side, you should highlight the financial difficulties that the developers are going to face.
No, absolutely. That is why we are doing this exercise. Let us do it more. Let us wait for all the announcements to complete. आणि ताजे उपरांत परत ही exercise करूया. थँक्स अ लॉट फॉर टॉकिंग टू अस. पळयत रावात प्रुडंट. नमस्कार.